didn't do it for money or power or fame. He had all that.
And that's why they hate him so much. The establishment. Why do you go in to the establishment? Why do you become a politician? For fame, for money, for power. He had all that stuff. All right, have you heard? There is now a jury that they found that will be begin hearing the evidence on Monday. There he is. Even at the defense table, he looks like a winner. He really does. There aren't enough people out there defending him, calling out this trial for the total farce that it is. Handful of folks in conservative media, but not as much as it should be. It should be widespread everywhere. This should not be happening. As usual, he's his own best advocate. Take a look.
The whole world is watching this hoax. You got a DA that's out of control. You have a judge that's highly conflicted. The whole thing is a mess, and you have the leading candidate and leading crooked Joe Biden by a lot. He's the one that should be in trial. He's a crook. You got a crooked president. He should be in trial with all the stuff he's done and his family. He should be in trial, but he's the one in charge.
It's so true. Anyway, they say, oh, that's not true, and they try to fact check him all afternoon long. It's not. Now, he's holding some papers, yeah, from some of the legal heavyweights out there. There should be more. And they kind of tiptoe around the issue, but good for him for finding support where he can.
I'm supposed to be in New Hampshire. I'm supposed to be in Georgia. I'm supposed to be in North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm supposed to be in a lot of different places campaigning. But I've been here all day on a trial that really is a very unfair trial. These are all stories. This is over the last few days from legal experts. This is Wall Street Journal editorial. But all of these are stories from legal experts saying how this is not a case. The case is ridiculous. This is another one. The case is a ridiculous Trump indictment. It's missing fraud. There is no fraud. All of these stories are stories of how, and these are done by the experts, and editorials. Bragg falsified business record, and he falsifies them. He's the one. He's the fraud. But take a look at all of these are stories. You see them here. Bragg's indictment even falls as an indictment. All of them. Bragg crosses the Rubicon, indicting Trump on nonsense.
On nonsense. Yeah, I know some people like, why would he do that, holding those papers there? Why not? How would you act if you were wrongly accused and pulled off your job and you got to sit in that courtroom all day long, but it's not getting him down? I haven't seen this before in court. You see that? That hand pump? I love it. And you know what? Look, in America, I don't have a problem with some of the people who showed up for jury duty. I don't. The ones who are honest, the ones who said that they were biased, and yeah, that's kind of to be commended. There are people out there, unlike the judge, who know that they're not impartial. Take a look.
Personally, I do not like him at all. I don't approve of a lot of what he has done as president, but I think that the right to a fair trial in this country is incredibly important.
If there's a reason that you don't think you could be impartial or that you could be perceived as biased, that you should raise your hand. So I raised my hand.
What happened? Why were you dismissed?
Because I couldn't be impartial.
You couldn't be impartial. So when the judge asked that hand, can you be impartial? You raised your hand and you said you cannot.
Exactly.
And good for her. Good for all of them. The judge, as he's asking these questions, he's the one. It should have dawned on him, what am I doing? I'm a complete hypocrite. I am totally and completely conflicted. I can't do this. You know, if the judge came in as a juror and he said, hey, you know, my daughter works in politics and I gave money to Joe Biden, it's by a matter of logic, he can't be a juror. Therefore, he can't be a judge. But he is, and he drew up this rigged questionnaire. You heard about the questionnaire? Totally skewed, totally strange. Now, one thing, Newsmax is mentioned. I love it. They want to know if anybody gets their news from a bunch of different sources, including Newsmax. All right. What else is in there? Oh, a list. Do you currently follow any anti-Trump or organization on any social media site, or have you done so in the past? And then they list a bunch of, well, I mean, let's face it, pretty hardcore groups out there. But they don't mention anything about Joe Biden. They don't mention anything about Black Lives Matter. You know, if you are for Biden, you're kind of automatically against Trump. Anyway, I talked to some legal experts. This thing is skewed and designed to find a biased jury, as if we didn't have enough problems. Anyway, they'll get through it, but we've got to help in any way we can. And I don't know, maybe it's writing a check, maybe it's, think about it. All right, next.
Donald Trump is no stranger to violating norms.
Trump is violating norms.
He violates political norms. When he violates constitutional norms.
Trump has violated norms.
Oh, yeah, the norms. And this is totally normal. Having a former president in court for this nonsense, and it is nonsense, and we have to recognize a guy named Mike Pomperantz. He is a really bad guy, an evildoer, I think, in this whole scheme. He is a former prosecutor who volunteered to basically do legal work for the district attorney, for Alvin Bragg. You can't do this stuff for free. Donald Trump is fully aware of this dude.
You have Pomerantz, Mark Pomperantz. He was Hillary Clinton's lawyer, or Democrat National Committee's lawyer. He worked in Paul Weiss. He walked in and he took over the district attorney's office. Nobody's ever seen anything like that, to prosecute Trump. And then they wouldn't do what he wanted to do, and he goes out and he writes a book. Long before any decisions were made, he writes a book about it. And the book gets published, and everybody's reading his book. And the judge said there's nothing wrong with that.
It is so incredibly unethical. And the book, though, yeah, he incriminates himself big time. I read the book. Not as many people read the book as you might think. When I joined the Trump investigation, I got countless emails and telephone calls from friends and colleagues urging me to go get him and wishing me luck. How about that, huh? He put it in a book. It's one thing to have friends who hate Trump, but see how arrogant they are. Listen to this. I was enthusiastic about working on the case and happy to work without pay. You see, when you're a lawyer, you're professional canons and all that stuff, it doesn't work if you don't get money. This is not pro bono. This is not a pro bono situation. This, I think you get disbarred for this, or maybe it will lend itself to a mistrial. Something else. This guy he goes right for the juicy stuff. I dug into the payment of hush money to Stephanie Clifford. I started there because it was interesting and easy to understand. You see, you think these guys care about the law? No, it was interesting to him. Let's see. I had followed the whole story from the sidelines, and it involved allegations of sexual infidelity. Is that why you liked it so much, pal? As compared to delving into the valuation of various real estate holdings, he wanted to talk about this. He comes up with this crazy plan that they're actually pursuing right now. And in the book, he says it's undoable. To charge Trump with something other than a misdemeanor, the District Attorney of New York, DANY, would have to argue that the intent to commit or conceal a federal crime had converted the falsification of the records into a felony. Nobody understands that. No appellate court, you see, in New York had ever upheld or rejected this interpretation of the law. It seemed we could not thread the needle of New York's antiquated penal law to find an appropriate felony charge that was immune from legal challenge. But they're doing it anyway. They're doing it anyway. Who's going to stop them, right? The people? Ha, ha, ha. They laugh at us. I think we're going to get the last laugh. All right, next, please.
He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real. He got shot down in an area where there were a lot of cannibals in New Guinea.
Cannibals. In 2 days, he talked about cannibals 6 times. Cannibals, human beings who eat human beings. He brought it up. Nobody asked him about this, and of course he's lying again. I knew it. I know his family situation. Fact checks Joe Biden. The president's uncle wasn't eaten by cannibals. He died in a plane crash in 1944. The whole thing was fake. He was trying to get at Trump. I don't know how cannibals had anything to do with it. But even KJP had to come clean. But they don't come clean the way normal people come clean. You know what I mean? They still weave a legend out of a lie.
Look, you saw the president. He was incredibly proud of his uncle's service in uniform. You saw him at the War Memorial. It was incredibly emotional and important to him. You saw him respond to all of you when asked about the moment yesterday. And his uncle, who lost his life when the military aircraft he was on crashed in the Pacific after taking off near New Guinea. The president highlighted his uncle's story as he made the case for honoring our sacred commitment to equip those we send to war and to take care of them and their families when they come home.
You see how they do that? He lies, they hide against the families of the fallen, against veterans. And it was so emotional for Joe when he told this fake story about an uncle he never met. The guy died in 1942. Joe was 2. He was off to war since 1941. I don't think Joe knew him. And you know who deserves an apology here? The people of, well, this is a long time ago, but somebody in New Guinea deserves an apology. Falsely accused them of eating his uncle. Seriously. This should be a diplomatic crisis at the least. All right. Next, please. More.
Trump sees the world from Park Avenue, looking down on Wall Street. I see it from Scranton and Claymont, where I grew up. It went to the Mar-a-Lago crowd, not a joke. His wealthy friends. He sees the world from Park Avenue. I see it from Scranton.
I view this campaign as between Scranton and Park Avenue. All Trump sees from Park Avenue is Wall Street. Like a lot of you, I spent a lot of my life with guys like Donald Trump looking down on me. Looking down on the people who make a living with their hands.
Yeah, that's Joe Biden making a living with his hands. 50 years in the United States Senate. You see how they're trying the same line, the same class warfare thing in 2020, but a lot less energy now. Let's straighten a few things out, okay? The house that Joe Biden lives in right now is the White House, okay? The White House in Mar-a-Lago, pretty comparable, right, in a certain way. But let's go back to Joe Biden's house way back in the day there. This is in Scranton, right? This is the thing that he tries to tell us is somehow, Skid Row. It's not. It's a perfectly fine American home. Can I show you Donald Trump's first house, the one he came to when he came home from the hospital? Right there on the right. Another fine American home. There's not as much difference as Joe may want us to think, is there? Yeah, of course, Donald Trump wanted to make a lot of money, and he did make a lot of money, and he upgraded and went to mansion after mansion and Trump Tower, and you name it, he went there. Good for him. He never made any bones about it, okay? That's what he did, and that's who he is. But Joe, he pretends it's about something else, right? Public service. I went into public service. Yet he went from that house to when he leaves public service into this house and a lot of other houses. Rich guy Joe. He had stuff and swag all over the place. Yet he was in public service. You see the thing, right? Donald Trump's honest about it. Wanted to make a lot of money. Also employed a lot of people. This guy pretends it was about service. It never was. Also, Joe is getting his feelings hurt.
I've never thought I'd see a time when I'm going through a neighborhood or a rural town in the West or something and see big signs that have a Trump sign in the middle that says F. Biden, and having a little kid standing with his middle finger, 7 years old, 8 years old. Well, I promise it happens all the time. It's not who we are.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's no big deal. And quite frankly, it is who we are. It's okay, Joe. Got more signs for Trump than for you. And as far as the middle finger, they were given the middle finger in the Bad News Bears. Anybody ever see the Bad News Bears? I love that movie. And it was downright wholesome compared to the insanity that you have embraced. This is not who we are, Joe. drag queens and trans whatever going on at the White House. You want to be outraged about something, be outraged about this stuff or this monstrosity. This is the stuff you should be upset about. And you know, you got a pretty big pulpit there. You know, how about when the Grammys have Meg the Stallion on and they have that simulated lesbian orgy at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night? That's something you may want to talk about. All right, back to Trump. So it starts on Monday. It seems like the biggest deal in the world right now. It won't. In a few days, it's just going to be one of the many obstacles that he overcame. With our help, I guess, I want to help. How can we? Maybe we pray. Maybe we pray a lot.